Alderwoman Hanneman.
Here.
Alderman Barber.
Here.
Alderman Nelson.
Here. We have a quorum. Please rise and join the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item on the agenda, citizen comment period. Any citizen wishing to speak, please rise, come forward, give us your name and address, and let us know what you'd like to let us know. Mr. Skoronsky, good evening. Representative Skoronsky.
Good evening, everybody, and how are you tonight? Wonderful evening you have. I'm here in protest about the Copar. Is that on? Is it on?
No.
It's electronics, don't touch it. Okay. All right, now we are. Okay, I'm here in objecting to any approval or admitting that particular company in our community. I don't think it's conducive to the quality and the enhancement that we would deserve in this city. I worked hard at the time when I was an alderman here to make that an industrial park of small businesses, quality of life, good tax-paying business, and that doesn't seem what's happening here, so I'm totally opposed to Copar. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody else? Anybody else? Okay, seeing no one else rise, I'll close the citizen comment period. We move on to mayoral announcements. In your packet, there's a flyer on small business grants that are available through the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation. Very short window on this. It's a $2,500 package per business for businesses with less than 30 employees, I believe. I've signed a bunch of letters already. I want us to sign lots more. The window is very small, next Tuesday for submission. So if you know of any in the city of Franklin, I'm happy to sign the letter. Just get the name to Callie, and we need to attest that they've been in a business since January 1st. No,
Just that they were in business during the month of
February 2020. So there you go. Let's do it. And that's it for announcements. Item C, in your packet, the regular common council meeting minutes of June 2nd. Any additions or there's a new one, an amended one at your place. Any other additions or corrections to June 2nd?
Move to approve.
The amended one. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Special common council meeting minutes of June 4th. Any additions or corrections? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
It's not going to be that hard tonight, is it? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Organizational business, any request for separate action? Is there a motion to approve appointments 1 through 10?
So moved.
Madam Clerk.
Alderman Dandria.
Aye.
Alderwoman Wilhelm.
Aye.
Alderwoman Hanneman.
Aye.
Alderman Barber. Alderman Nelson.
Aye.
Motion carries. 6 ayes, 5 ayes, no noes, 1 absent, no abstentions. We're going to move around a little bit on the agenda. We're going to take these out of order. Let's move to item G4, resolution authorizing installation of a fence within a 30-foot landscape easement. Alderman Barber.
So move.
I'll second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. G5 is a resolution authorizing officials to accept the landscape buffer yard easement for part of a 2-lot certified subdivision. This is Andy Kular, Andy's gas station on Ryan Road.
Motion?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. G6 is a resolution authorizing officials to execute a facilities use agreement with the Franklin Public School District and a consent waiver. Mr. City Attorney.
Mr. Mayor, the police chief supports an approval of this agreement, and that the facility use is necessary for the training. And with regard to the conflict waiver, it's simply because the Von Briesen firm represents both the district as well as the city for labor matters. And from my office, the recommendation would be to approve the conflict and to adopt the motion on the action sheet, which covers both aspects mentioned.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. G7, an ordinance to amend the ordinance 2019-2398, adopting the 2020 annual budgets for capital outlay fund to provide for $16,130 of grant resources and $26,884 of police appropriations for updated 911 capabilities.
Make motion.
Second.
Madam Clerk.
Alderman Nelson.
Aye.
Alderman Barber.
Aye.
Alderwoman Hanneman.
Aye.
Alderwoman Wilhelm.
Aye.
Alderman Dandria.
Aye.
Motion carries, 5 ayes, no noes, 1 absent, no abstentions. G8 on page 181, it's an ordinance to amend 2019-2398, an ordinance adopting the 2020 annual budgets for the general fund to carry forward $23,000 of unused economic development appropriations to appropriate expenditures for Economic Development Commission marketing appropriations to upgrade the Unified Development Ordinance.
Second.
Madam Clerk.
Alderman Dandria.
Aye.
Alderwoman Wilhelm.
Aye.
Alderwoman Hanneman.
Aye.
Alderman Barber.
Aye.
Alderman Nelson.
Aye.
5 ayes, no noes, 1 absent, no abstentions, motion carries. G9, 187, authorization to execute a contract, authorize it to execute contact tracing contract. Thank you, Courtney. See, she's challenging me in my speech training here. We're going to do speech pathology here too, with Maxim Healthcare Staffing Services, estimated $38,000. Mr. City Attorney.
Mr. Mayor, on a review, staff has some issues with regard to different provisions in this proposed agreement and are set forth within the standard form, city services contract. And I did confer with the city health officer, and the thought is that staff would review the subject. Health officer would exchange proposed changes with the other party to the contract, and then we bring it back with the result thereof at the next Common Council regular meeting.
Amend the table.
Thank you very much. Alderman Hammond. Who's the second?
Nobody.
Second.
The motion's to table. Alderman Wilhelm.
In that review, maybe you could come back with answers on page 189. It talks about the supplies that the client will furnish, all tools, office supplies, equipment supplies, software, hardware, materials, without limitations, electronics, mobile devices, cell phone, blah, blah, blah. I just want to make sure we have all those costs already covered, that there won't be any additional software. And just
We have.
if everything's covered. Okay, thank you.
And correct the maxim on that, in that section too. The motion is to table. All those in favor signify by
To
saying
the
aye.
next regular.
To the next regular meeting.
Aye.
Let's try it again. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. G10, page 195, resolution to provide conservation easement with the Milwaukee Metropolitan Sewage District for the 36th Street biofilter project.
Authorize resolution for the easement.
Is there a second?
Second.
Fourth. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. G11, page 209, an ordinance to amend ordinance 2019-2398. We've done that a couple of times tonight. An ordinance to adopt 2020 annual budgets for TID 5 and TID 6, carry forward unused 2019 appropriations, and detailed 2020 construction appropriations in TID 4 and provide additional municipal revenue obligation appropriations in TID 3.
So moved.
Discussion. Madam Clerk.
Alderman Nelson.
Aye.
Alderman Barber. Aye. Alderwoman Hanneman.
Aye.
Alderwoman Wilhelm.
Aye.
Alderman Dandria.
Aye.
Motion carries 5 ayes, no noes, 1 absent, no abstentions. G12 on page 213, an ordinance to repeal and recreate section 13-1 through 13-3 of the Franklin Municipal Code, chapter 13 budget, in order to amend the budget process, including delegating the Finance Committee responsibility for the initial review of the mayor's recommended annual budget. Before we go into this, I want to point out, this was my suggestion that we do this, to allow the Finance Committee to take a substantive look at the budget before it comes to this body for additional review and input. I keep hearing that it's the mayor's budget, and we never get to look at it. It got taken away from the Finance Committee by my predecessor because in his view, some aldermen were taking one vote at finance and a different vote at the council. That was his opinion. My opinion was that the council wasn't paying attention to what the Finance Committee had to say. So in essence, at that point, I felt the Finance Committee just wasn't being paid attention to, so it was a waste of the Finance Committee's time. So I feel now it's time to give it another shot. So that's what this is. So
Second.
there we go. Alderman Nelson, you're going to learn that you got to yell it out rather than just.
They're aggressive tonight, so I'm
Okay. All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Who's on the phone?
Steve Ball, with Legal Source.
Thank you, Steve. Motion carries. G13, a report on expenditures related to COVID. Mr. Rotzenberg.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. There's been decreasing activity over the last several weeks in the COVID area, so expenditures have been reduced. The only item of any real significance that has occurred in the last 2 weeks is the health department was notified of a grant from the state to the city to deal with issues specifically related to COVID. And we believe that the contact tracing element, which was the subject of an earlier agenda item, would be fully covered by this grant. So we would have, in essence, a budget amendment coming forward to you to provide for some appropriations, but some resources from the state to pay for it, so that no local tax dollars would be involved. I'd be happy to entertain any questions about the report if you have them.
Current level of expenditures is total?
Total expenditures are now of $185,000 of the $250,000 that the council appropriated.
Thank you. Questions? Thank you, Mr. Rotzenberg. Is there a motion to receive and place on file?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Ms. Bosch, G14, recommendation of the Fair Commission regarding 2020. Madam Clerk.
If I could relay the action of the Fair Commission, and if anybody has questions, the chairwoman is in the audience, and then Alderman Nelson is also on the committee and was there for the vote. There was a motion to continue with the fair, and the end result was a 3-3 tie. So we had the chairwoman voting no to continue, Dave Lidner voting no, and Terry Hammond voting no. Alderman Nelson, Ken Sweeney, and John Trudeau voted to continue it. And the health department was there to give their opinion and recommendation, and I relayed some information, but that is the motion. If anybody has specific questions or wants to ask the chair anything, I have nothing additional to add.
Well, at that point, the question goes to the city attorney. What was the motion?
The motion was to continue with the fair.
So, Mr. City Attorney, in the case where a motion is tied, what happens?
There's no recommendation.
Right. And there was no additional, so I think the recommendation, it was split. Is that,
I have a question.
Alderman Wilhelm. Didn't get an answer, but.
Well, I guess I'd like to get the health officer's opinion, and I don't know, all the exact dates. Let's see, it says on, there's no dates here, so when that would be. So what's the dates, what's the health officer's opinion? And those that voted in favor, do they have some benefit?
Labor Day would be the 7th, right?
so it's September 6th and 7th. It's always
Okay.
the Sunday and Monday. One of the reasons that we are bringing it up at this point, the Fair Commission had talked about delaying the decision until a little bit later. However, our license year runs from July 1st through June 30th, and we're a little bit different than the civic celebrations because the fair is based on vendors, and vendors would start having to purchase their permits and get their space, and space is not regulated by the city. It is pretty much the property owner. So as far as social distancing, property owners would be on their own for that. As you know, the setup of the fair, there isn't a real convenient or safe way to regulate social distancing in the crowd, because sometimes the road is and side-to-side people. But if Courtney wants to add anything on, one of the issues that I did bring up were the portable restrooms. We do have a contract, but the vendor was kind enough to be understanding to say, even if you had to give us a 24-hour cancellation notice, we'd be fine with it. But in this day, when people are expecting restrooms to be sanitized more frequently when they're indoor, I don't know that that would be possible with all the portable restrooms. Dave Lidner, who is not here, represents the Lions Club. That is their number one fundraiser for the year. And he said their membership, and correct me if I'm wrong, their membership was pretty split on whether he said some of the regular members said right out, if they had it, they wouldn't even go. They wouldn't be able to assist. And if you recall the setup of the Lions, they have a tent, and if it rains, he said people just pile in that, and they're shoulder to shoulder. And so he was one of the voting no members on the commission for that.
And what about the yes ones? Do they have a financial interest?
Well, the city attorney has brought this up before, that people, it's like the monitoring committee for the landfill and the quarry monitoring, they are impacted by it, and but.
Well, like Trudeau, isn't he a business owner then?
Correct, and he still is able to
Run his business.
run his business on
He
that
just
day.
has a lot more business on that day.
That is correct.
And then Sweeney has,
Ken Sweeney.
he also has ability to pull in some income on,
frontage. I mean, he's a well driller, so he's not
Probably
gonna-
doesn't need it, but.
He's not
yeah.
gonna benefit that way, but I think he is more for carrying on the tradition of the fair. This would, and Alderman Nelson can speak for himself.
Well, it's his district. He's gonna want us to.
Split.
I was going,
Oh, yeah, let's do Alderman Nelson.
I was gonna yield.
All right, Ms. Day.
Sure. Sandy alluded to a lot of the discussion that took place. The St. Martin's Fair is it's a unique event, just for the fact that there are so many access points to the actual road and the event, that it's hard in this instance to try to control the crowd and the crowd size. There are other venues that have had events. We have some of our beer gardens that are open. They have a very funneled entry system, one way in, one way out, low contact between patrons and the food service or the drink service that they're getting. That is really hard to accomplish on a street setting with so many entry points. There are, fairs and festivals that may go on that are in a park setting where you can kind of fence it in and you can kind of wrangle people all through one entry point, but again, that's difficult here. The cleaning aspect, what we're the most concerned about, understanding that this is outside, so open air, it's not as big of a deal as, cramming 1,000 people into this room right now, but there's still a lot of high-touch surfaces, and with little to no additional cleaning going on, that does put people at a higher risk, going to the bathroom, not having enough hand washing stations, not having enough hand sanitizing stations, touching items, then eating food with your hands, touching your face, and then touching items again. So there's a lot of unknown, and there'll be a lot of people. I mean, it's the only thing going on. Everything else has essentially been canceled at that point, at that weekend. So the other thing, we believe that historically we've seen a lot of vendors from Illinois and traffic from Illinois as far as patrons for the event. That'll probably be a lot higher this year just because Illinois doesn't have very much going on right now. They're still locked down at this point. September's a long way off, so who knows by that point. But I suspect we would see a fair amount of people traveling to St. Martin's Fair from other parts of this state and maybe even Illinois as well. So just for the crowd size, the inability to kind of control the access points, to control the flow, increase cleaning and sanitation. At this point, it's a lot like the civic celebration. I can't find a way forward that from a public health standpoint, I can say, yeah, this is a good idea. So my recommendation would be to cancel for this year.
Alderman Nelson.
So basically, and I appreciate what you're saying, and it's accurate what you're going through, but I'm going to take the position, being an open air event, multiple access points. If you don't want to go, don't go. That's my position on that part of it. And looking at the fact that we've had it since 1958, there's a lot of history and tradition with it, that's one part. And I also believe that there will be a number of vendors that may not want to come and vend. That's going to reduce the fair, I believe. You actually may have some landowners, because we're unique for those that don't know this. If you want to vend, you actually have to rent a space from a current landowner that may wish not to do this because of what's going on. But then again, this is this is September, and this is kind of the only thing that could be going on in this region of the county. So was in support of moving forward with it.
Alderman Danger.
I understand the history of this event, but I'm also pretty cognizant of the history of the financial event, of the outcome. And Mr. Rotzenberg, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but typically this event costs the city additional funds, doesn't it? And I'm thinking that this is going to cost us more if we've got to supply additional police and fire, additional possible cleaning and cleansing stations. But can you just briefly give me a yes or no?
So the annual general fund of the city has a contribution to the St. Martin's Fair of $11,000 that has been in place for a number of years. The fair over the last several years has not generated sufficient resources to deal with all of the charges that the fair commission has been receiving. Admittedly, there are significant charges from both the police and the public works folks, almost all of which is on overtime. So those costs are transferred into the fair cost related to activities there. The general fund made a special $60,000 contribution about 2 years ago to bring the fair back to a zero balance. In 2019, it did generate another deficit and would be projected to have a deficit in the current year if it occurred.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ratzenberg.
Alderman Barber, and then Alderman Nelson.
The Board of Health discussed events in the city at its last Board of Health meeting, and they also expressed reservations. The Board of Health also expressed reservations about events, especially the one coming up on the licensing committee for the Croatian Festival and the festival over in St. Martin. So without passing a motion, it was unanimous that there's reservations about continuing with this just because of what's possibly going to be communicated.
Alderman Nelson.
This was a portion that we really didn't touch too much on at the Fair Commission. That was in between that and going back to licensing. But with a reduced fare, as if we see that the licenses are going down, well, first of all, there wouldn't be an increase in police, fire, or DPW. It wouldn't be an increase. There's no reason to increase it. Anything would be decreased. If we are seeing less vendors coming, we would definitely be not going at a full, it would be our recommendation to put forth a safe event, but with social distancing, that's not a law, it's a recommendation, okay? You go 10 miles south of here, there is a full 4th of July parade going on, full 4th of July fireworks going on. There are other areas and communities that are having events like this. So you can look at it the way you want to look at it, but I don't see any increase in cost. Yes, has the fair been a deficit? Sure. It's a community event, depends how we want to fund it. We have to look at the internal pieces opposed to the external pieces for that. But everyone's got to vote, and that's where we're going to go.
Alderman Hanneman.
I would also argue conversely, though, we don't know that it's going to be a smaller event. If it is one of the only events around, we've seen what's happened in other communities around the Midwest. Once restrictions have been lifted and everybody swarms to some place that's fun and there's something to do and there's music and entertainment, I would argue there's just as equal of a chance it could be larger and then ultimately cost the city more money and put a stress on our police and public works departments. And I would also argue financially, as came into play with the civic celebration for 4th of July, I think we have to keep a close eye on the finances. With everything that's happened with COVID-19, we're not rolling in clover right now. We have to be very, very mindful of the taxpayer dollars. Those are my points. Thank you.
Madam Clerk, can you tell me the number of licenses we typically issue for the fair? If you know.
On an average, we have been at about 35 to 40 food vendors, and we range from about 190 to 225 non-food vendors.
So about 260 licenses. So if the fair committee came to me and said, Mr. Mayor, we're gonna limit this to 130 permits, then we'd have something to talk about. But right now, we have no clue as to the number of vendors. Could be 260, could be 400. Because if we look at what's going on at Ballpark Commons, on any given weekend, they're parking on the grass. And most of it's blue and white license plates. We have no clue. I said it when we were talking about civic celebrations. My responsibility is for the health and safety of the citizens of Franklin. I can't support going forward with the fair, and I love the fair. I don't know how many years I walked up and down with the clerk saying, I'm from the government and I'm here to take your license. You know, unless there's a plan, boy, this is risky business. Is there a motion regarding this matter?
Move to deny.
Second.
Discussion of motion to deny. Actually, to cancel. Madam Clerk. Roll call.
Alderman Dandria,
Aye.
Alderwoman Wilhelm,
Aye.
Alderwoman Hanneman,
Aye.
Alderman Barber,
Aye.
Alderman Nelson.
No.
Motion carries, 4 ayes, 1 no, 1 absent. Sorry, committee, but I think it's wise.
Okay.
Thank you very much. I'm not going to go into 15, which is closed session. Let's do licenses and permits. Alderman Nelson.
I'm gonna yield it all.
Alderman Wilhelm.
Sure you want to do it?
Or sure.
You guys were.
I'm happy to.
Whoever's got it written down.
Well, let's go for number 3, Alderwoman Hanneman.
Thank you. I move the approval, hold, or deny of the following license applicants. On page 1, approve with letter. Robinson, approve. Walters, approve with letter. Corona, approve. The next one is the Federation of Croatian Services Croatian Festival. Mr. Krenz came in and discussed the event with us as we're following up and talking about the St. Martin's Fair. They would like to change that application to be only for Saturday, July 18th, from 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. So that means it goes from a 3-day to a 2-day, or a 1-day event. They did submit a letter of management for their COVID-19 mitigation and prevention, and so we move the approval of that license. The rest of the page is approve. Moving to page 2, the first 2 are to approve. Geske, hold for appearance. The remainder of the page is approved. Moving to page 3, applicant Bryant, hold for appearance. Applicant Chatfield, hold for appearance. The remainder of the page is approved. Page 4 is approved. Save applicant Cawley, hold for appearance. Everything else is approved.
I have a question.
Yes,
Did you say the Colley, Joseph Colley?
yes, hold for appearance.
Okay, thank you.
Page 5, approve all. Page 6, approve all the operator renewals. Down to Sam's Club and Prime Times, those are both approved pending inspection. And noting a change of agent for Sam's Club.
Nice job.
I do have a question on the Croatian
Yes.
event. 1,500 people a day?
No,
No, that has.
I'll get the sheet.
You can just tell me no. I trust you
There-
guys implicitly, but
They're limiting to 700, which they're going to control with people at the gate counting because they have only the one access point. He said ultimately, they're not sure they are even still going to hold the event, so there is still the opportunity, the possibility that they may cancel, but they wanted to not come in at the last minute for their license approval.
yeah, I've been to the event. It's a good event, but a lot of people.
No, he put a great
Just-
plan forward, so.
Alderman Nelson.
Yeah, just to add to that, that in that folder, in their folder, is their plan. So it's listed in there with about 14 points, which he was very forthright. I mean, he did a really good job, and that's why I really support it.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Move on to I1, vouchers. Is there a motion approving city vouchers with an ending date of June 12th in the amount of $1,614,024.43 and payroll dated June 5th in the amount of $396,145.36 and payments to various payroll deductions in the amount of $254,266.96 plus city matching payments and estimated payroll of June 19th, estimated at $400,000, and payments to the various payroll deductions estimated at $415,000 plus city matching payments, and estimated payroll of July 3rd, estimated at $388,000, and payroll deductions estimated at $217,000 plus city matching payments, and property tax disbursements with an ending date of June 12th in the amount of $5,943,135.02, and the use of investment funds for tax settlements of $3,240,216.68, and approval to release library vouchers upon approval of the library board not to exceed $15,000.
So move.
Second.
All those in, Madam Clerk?
Alderman Dandria.
Aye.
Alderwoman Wilhelm.
Aye.
Alderwoman Hanneman.
Aye.
Alderman Barber.
Aye.
Alderman Nelson.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Mayor? Not on that issue.
5 ayes, no noes, 1 absent, no abstentions. Alderman Wilhelm.
I'm just feeling a little uncomfortable about taking the Croatian with those votes, because I didn't actually see the whole plan, and I'm wondering if we could take that one out. Or reconsider to take one out. I guess I didn't realize it was gonna be 700 people and one, so I,
Opposed to 1,500.
They have 30 acres.
We got
30 acres.
30 acres of land, I mean.
Does everyone feel the plan was really solid?
All right, there's a
enough?
request for separate action on that particular item.
No, there's a motion to reconsider because it was approved.
All right, there's a motion to reconsider.
Second.
Licenses. On the motion to reconsider, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? On licenses except for the extraordinary event license for Federation of Croatian Societies, is there a motion to approve?
Second, or so moved.
Second.
All those in favor of the motion on
Aye.
everything except Federation Croatians?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. On the is there a motion regarding Federation Croatian Societies?
Mayor,
Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion to deny.
Is there a se-
However, I would have liked to heard from the health officer. Where'd she go?
Let's do it differently. Is there a motion regarding Federation of Croatian Societies?
I made the motion.
Are you making a motion to deny it, or?
Right. I wanted to hear from the health officer on that one, and that was my recommendation on the committee as well.
All right, well, Alderman Wilhelm made the motion to deny. Is there a second to the motion to deny?
Second.
Okay, on the motion to deny, all those in favor of the motion to deny signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Madam Clerk, let's take a roll call.
Alderman Nelson.
No.
Alderwoman Hanneman.
No.
Alderman Barber.
No.
Alderwoman Wilhelm.
Aye.
Alderman Dandria.
No.
Okay, on the motion to deny, motion fails. 4 ayes, excuse me, 4 noes, 1 aye, 1 absent. All right.
Thank you for doing that.
Is there, and Alderman Barber, you don't need to always second. Is there a motion, is there another motion on this?
I'm sorry, what? I didn't hear
Is
that.
there another motion on this matter?
I'd like to make a motion to approve this event and also make sure it is read in their plan, which I thought was very comprehensive.
Okay,
Second.
all right, on the motion to approve, we might as well just go ahead, Madam Clerk.
Alderman Dandria.
Aye.
Alderwoman Wilhelm.
No.
Alderwoman Hanneman.
Aye.
Alderman Barber.
Aye.
Alderman Nelson.
Aye.
Motion carries, 4 ayes, 1 no, 1 absent. Motion is approved. Okay, so, given that we have a small attendance for item G15, which is potential property acquisition, let's do that one first. My apologies to the folks from Bear Development. And the other folks from Muskego, but that one's gonna take longer than this one. So we're gonna go into closed session on this one. Is there a motion to enter closed session pursuant to Wisconsin Stats 19.85 sub 1 sub E for market competition and bargaining reasons to deliberate and consider terms relating to potential property acquisition for the development of West Elm Road widening and public utilities, public improvements for the tax incremental district number 4, Franklin Corporate Park, 10627 South 27th Street, tax key numbers 9519996-002, potential acquisition of approximately 5,969 square feet and 9519999-001, potential acquisition of approximately 5,234 square feet, 3001 West Elm Road, tax key number 9789996-006, potential acquisition of approximately 15,977 square feet, and 10613 South 27th Street, tax key number 9519996-009, potential acquisition of approximately 24,008 square feet, and the investment of public funds and governmental actions in relation thereto, and to effect such acquisitions and to re-enter open session at the same place thereafter, to act on such matters as discussed therein as it deems appropriate. This should not take a whole long time. Madam Clerk, is there,
So moved.
all those in favor?
No,
Madam Clerk,
I wasn't voting, I was stopping.
you don't need to.
Alderman Nelson.
Aye.
Alderman Barber.
Aye.
Alderwoman Hanneman.
Aye.
Alderwoman Wilhelm.
Aye.
Alderman Dandria.
Aye.
Okay, we're gonna go into closed session, so all of you guys get out.